40, 30.
Gut. Und ich hatte noch was oben.
Ja. Dann dachte ich, jetzt steht da noch Winterkongress, ne?
Ja.
Ja.
Und jetzt hören wir auch, gell? Das ist Gehört noch jetzt blau, gell? moet nog relatief zeggen.
Jawohl.
Aha. Verena ist noch nicht wirklich im Call jetzt. Okay. Hello. Willkommen zum Future Fashion Tech with Sustainable Impact B2B Session. We still had some technical issues. Now Verena is here and Marja is here. Wonderful. Welcome. Here in our studio we have also Martin Krom and Kaspar König. And yes, we're structuring this talk. First, every one of our guests will introduce him or herself briefly, and then they give 10 minutes, something like this, introduction to their field, and Kaspar is sort of moderating the questions. In our call, where's the now in the Talkify? We have put the active link of the B2B Big Blue Button session in the event calendar, so you can click and then we let you in, and you can also still participate. Yes, great. All right. I'm only in the background. I'm Verena from Fashion Revolution Switzerland, and I would try to keep an eye on whether somebody's coming in and let everyone in. So I pass on to Kaspar.
So yeah, maybe I just take your laptop for a small moment. Since I'm also not going to be talking a lot, I'm just very curious to bring together some of your expertise and some of your interest into a conversation and a discussion. So my role will be, I will listen as careful as possible and pick out the interesting points to maybe find several links to each other. And hopefully maybe in the audience there's other people interested in exactly what you're doing. So I wonder who might want to start. And I look to the left and Martin says yes.
Yes, I'm starting.
Okay, Martin starts. I will just hand on the computer.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm here because I did own a sock who is quite valuable, and in a way I'm here more about because my technical background. I'm interested in cryptocurrencies and blockchain, and now there's like the upcoming trend of non-fungible tokens, and non-fungible tokens is like shall I now start with the 10 minute talk? No, just introduce myself.
Yeah, introduce yourself.
Okay.
And tell us what tokens have to do
So
with fashion.
yeah, in a way, there's a big boom, and this boom is all about the non-fungible token. And finally, I will introduce what's a fungible token, because normally in cryptocurrencies, tokens are fungible. So the token is like if you have like, and the coin is fungible. You use if you have like 1 Swiss franc and you go to a shop and buy something, you get a change back. But the 1 Swiss franc, it's always the same. It's not distinguishable because 1 Swiss franc is fungible. So you can ship one to another and it's exactly the same. And non-fungible token is it's a digitalized token, which is not everyone is the same. So every token is like different. And this is somehow a new digital structure, and you can use them to represent non-fungible stuff. So the idea is that if you have, in a fashion context, if you have like one piece of your fashion or of a cloth, then you represent it as a non-fungible token, and the ownership of this non-fungible token can be exchanged to other people. People can buy it, but they own like a license. So a non-fungible token, in fact, is somehow like a license. And the reason why I'm here, because there's like one quite old project, and it's called Unisocks. And the reason that somebody is like a big blockchain project. It's called Uniswap. It's quite an important project. But before they got this report, they made something called Unisocks, and they had like 500 socks in stock, and then they gave out a token which represents one sock. Every token represents one sock, and the sock is like it has like two purposes. One thing is you can exchange it, you can sell it to somebody else, then somebody else has like the right to have the sock. But you also can redeem it. If you redeem it, you send the sock to the redeem company. In this case, it's Uniswap itself, and then you get back a pair of socks. And why I'm talking about this is mainly because of the value. At first, one sock was, I don't know, around $1, but then last time it was like the last half a year or so, it was like a huge hit, because everyone wants to own like this digital sock in a way. And now there's like 500 socks have been like created, they are real socks, and 180 socks have been redeemed. So people sent the token to the company and got the real socks back. And then the sock, you can't trade them anymore on as a normal, you can't sell the sock anymore, except you sell the physical sock. But the normal sock, the digital sock, the digital representation of one sock is still on different exchange, and the value is about, I don't know, 90,000 per sock right now. And it's because it's one of the first like fashion item which somebody made an NTF out of this. And if you look at this non-fungible token is like a physical representation in the real world, and this is the sock. But NTF non-fungible token, what's really they are good for is for the digital space. So the main thing they are used right now is that people can buy stuff, and mostly it's like it's art, or there are like items in a game, and then you have a non-fungible token which you can sell to somebody else. So if you have like so the main use at the end, I guess, will be for the metaverse, so that people can live in a digital world somewhere, and then they can have like items in this digital world which they use to distinguish themselves from others, and then they use them in this digital world, and they can sell it, and they can keep it, they can collect it, all this kind of stuff.
And can they wear the digital sock?
Yeah, this stock is like physical, but of course, at the end game I think is that people who are living in this metaverse, in this digital world, that they use this kind of item to show who they are. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
Maybe it was a little bit confusing and too much.
No, it's a good introduction, and I will come back with the questions later. But first, I will start to actually ask Marta if she likes to say something about what you are doing.
Okay, so first of all, hello everyone. It's great to be here and during the Fashion Revolution Week, and it's great purpose, and I hope we can all learn a lot, and especially that there's so much happening nowadays in fashion space. Also because of the pandemic, there is a lot of innovation happening, which is very interesting to follow. And brands are changing as well. But first of all, a few words about me. So I've been working in fashion industry for almost 20 years now. And I have experience in fashion shows, photo shoots, and production management. And I'm specializing in sustainability, consumer behavior, and technology. And I'm passionate about working on projects that drive innovation and positive impact. However, how did I get here? Because regards my education, I started off in computer science. That was my first choice of studies. However, after the first year, I was scouted as to the modeling agency. And despite that, I really wasn't much into fashion. I have no idea about it. I was super geeky. I took a chance. I saw it as a great opportunity to travel the world and meet a great variety of people, creative people. And I have pleasure to working on for some best names in the fashion industry, such as Fendi, Stella McCartney, Yoshimoto, and many, many more. And I have to admit that it was a great school of life. Not always so glamorous as shown in the shiny magazines, not at all, but very interesting for sure. However, I started modeling quite late. As I said, it was after the first year of study, so I was thinking already about my retirement, what I should do next. And I moved into the photo shoot and fashion show production. And it was very interesting. I enjoyed quite a lot. However, I also noticed, how fashion industry is really changing. The huge amounts of cheap and poor quality clothes started flooding the market. And it was just ever accelerating trend. Seems like simple money making machines, and I really didn't want to be part of it anymore. I didn't wanted to help this industry going this direction. So I wasn't sure where I want to go exactly and what I should do, because I was already quite deep into fashion. It's like for a decade. So I knew that this is something that I should keep working on. So I decided to educate myself further. I've done postgraduate studies in buying and merchandising at London College of Fashion, and have done some master courses in marketing and management at University of London. I wanted just to understand the wider spectrum of fashion industry. And thanks to this gain knowledge, I became really passionate about consumer behavior. And I started researching the ways how we can motivate people towards more sustainable or responsible fashion consumption. And at that point, it was quite obvious for me that it had to be done through kind of digital platform, because the geeky part of me came out and said that I need to merge those two industries. So I started at the time, actively participated in various startup events and workshops. I created my own company called iClite, where I was focusing on various technological innovation that drive sustainability. And this company is about 6-7 years old now. I became a mentor for many startups in the industry, and I started consulting for brands and on their sustainable strategies. And also, because I used to be a gamer in my teenage year, I have been looking, we've been overloaded with all this negative information. It's like how bad we're doing by consuming fashion. So I wanted to change the narrative and, just use the games and some fun mechanism to motivate us towards better consumption, to facilitate it and just make it fun. There's feeling better is about doing a little bit better and educate ourselves. So currently I'm actually, because I moved to Switzerland 2.5 years ago, there's not so much happening in the fashion space as in London. So I look more deeply into game industry. I met some amazing people from the industry, and they encouraged me actually to create a game. So, and I'm working on the game called Portobello, which is a famous flea market in London, where you can find some treasures in someone else's trashes. And this is a new adventure, because the game world actually is very different. People have even different vocabulary. I need to understand, what is vertical slides, which is a sample in fashion vocabulary. So this is very interesting and exciting. And in our game, we're focusing on education, and we're trying to facilitate more sustainable fashion consumption. Of course, it's about reusing, repairing, swapping, and trying to stronger emotional engagement with the garments, that people understand the craftsmanship behind the garment and the true value of it. And we are also trying, this is also a base for my PhD, actually, my academic research, which I am continuing in London College of Fashion. Also because I want to keep stronger relationship with London. I've been there for so many years. through this game, I want to realize if the game really have potential to change our behavior in an offline space, so physical space. If thanks to learning and educating and facilitating new behavior in game with a fun mechanism, we can really move it to the physical world and try to behave with our clothes, physical clothes, better as well. So let's see how it will go. We are still working on development, but it's super exciting. So I hope we launch quite soon, at least for testing, so you can test it out and give us a feedback and opinion, because it's really good to hear everyone else. So yeah, that's a few words about it.
Definitely. Thank you very much. I would love to be a beta tester of that game. I'm looking forward to see something maybe online already. Is there anything people could already see?
No, and we do not want to share too much information at this stage, because we are quite small. We are very mission driven as well, and actually that's it's quite a competitive space. So we do keep it quite quiet. We don't want to release all the mechanism, because there are big players in the market, and if they will feel that it's a kind of potential, even for some marketing action, they can just snip it and using.
Sure. No, that's fine for now. I would just would love to see what Verena is doing these days. Can you tell us, Verena, what are you doing?
First of all, can you see me now? Because I was.
Yes.
Yeah, we can. Okay, awesome. Yeah. So thank you for having me. And my name is Verena. I'm also kind of a researcher, but I would say I'm on the borderline now, because I got an SNF grant to develop my PhD into a startup company. And maybe to my background, I'm an architect, and I also did my first master's in textile design and my second master in design theory in New Zealand. And then I did my PhD at the interface of interaction design, industrial design, and architecture. And I developed in my PhD kind of through a post-humanist theories. I tried to look differently at technology in a more kind of interactive way, that we are exchanging things and that we are trying to work together with technologies, and not just pressing a button and telling the machine or the algorithm what to do. And out of this came actually a sewing pattern technology we developed, a mathematician and me, and we also patented it. And it is that you have a 3D scan of a person through like any device which has a camera. So you have to just turn 360 degrees in front of a camera, and then you get a 3D scan of yourself, and we modulate on top of that kind of an avatar, so a digital twin. And on that, we then modulate sewing patterns directly. So we don't do the like normal approach of creating sewing patterns in 2D and then modulating it in 3D on the body. But we are starting from the body and then taking the topology of the individual body into account, and then creating on those lines, on those curvatures, we are creating sewing patterns. And we also have an investor now, and we are going to market by summer, I would say, to keep it vague. And it is a marketplace for sustainable fashion brands. And it's kind of a plug-in tool, I would say, that you can customize your fashion as a consumer. Yeah. So and what I also wanted to say is that I'm a researcher at the University of Arts in Zurich, and there I'm teaching in the interaction design department. And I think I like this kind of thresholds, or this kind of borderlines where it's not clear what disciplines are coming together, and really to look at a meta level of different kind of relationships between things. And I think that is what is so interesting about fashion nowadays, that all these kind of fields come together, especially through the coronavirus, that gamification games are coming closer, that tokens, so finances, different currencies and different blockchain systems are coming together, that also the production ways are crashing. So the things who get mass produced in Bangladesh, they kind of crashed through the coronavirus. Borders got closed, workers were not paid anymore, the whole garments were destroyed. So it's really an interesting time to see how this is influencing also new ways of production. And I think what I'm very interested in, and what I also explored in my PhD, is microfactories, how to digitalize the whole supply chain, that you create a different system around fashion, that it is compatible, getting compatible, that you can customize fashion and that you produce on demand. Yeah, so.
Super, thank you very much. And I thought one of the topics I would just address to you all is that you are all busy with uniqueness, right? Verena is with the uniqueness of each person and each garment in that sense. Marta is probably interested in the unique way somebody goes through the game and gives a maybe a data set, or maybe a behavior, exposes a behavior. And Martin is talking about this unique fungible, non-fungible token that is basically also very based on its uniqueness. Do you see there anything that is like a trend that we want to be, well, individualism was already a very long trend maybe now, but is this very, very uniqueness that everything has its own code maybe, or its own number? Is that a future that can help us in yeah, basically thinking of resources and using those resources because we know where they are allocated because of this code? Is that something I should take away?
I mean, talking about code, you mean that we have a personal relationship with the things we are buying, or which we are consuming, right? I think it is important that the principle of the first industrial revolution until now is that we kind of take away the meaning of things, right? We try to make it every piece it looks the same, and it is all kind of produced from neutral machines or people we don't know. So I think we got trained to not pay attention, not get attached, and I think this is exactly the problem we are facing today, that it is not in a relationship with us, the things we consume. And I think that through also the corona crisis, I would say there's really a lot more attention to planting tree programs, or to pay more attention to who's producing my clothes, to get more sustainable. The statistics have shown that it has given already that it has risen a lot, those sustainable attempts to consume more consciously, I would say.
And what comes to my mind, if you were thinking about personalized garments that we know there's just one off, I was quite surprised. I do not like going shopping, but I do go sometimes to look at the people, how they behave. So I went to Yermoli to see, where is crowded, where people are queuing and how they're behaving. And I was quite surprised because right at the entrance, there is a station for the t-shirt personalization. So so the brands are really trying those kind of different approaches that they can engage consumer a little bit more and personalize. And if you have your initials on the t-shirt, probably you will have better you know, some different feelings towards this T-shirt as well, and you might care a little bit more to it. So that's interesting. There is another trend which is connected with the digital labels, and you know that is all about transparency within the supply chain. So that's very interesting. However, not everyone is very interested in the history of the garment, unfortunately, especially when we're talking to fast fashion consumers. The still, you know, how we're buying the garments, it's the point of sale under the impulse, because sometimes, you know, was at the good price and you not necessarily needed it, but you just wanted to boost your mood. And even if you have all this information on the label, many people are just do not care. It's like so that's still something that needs to be probably you know, approach. But you know, companies are saying that consumers want cheap garments and very quick, but this is also, I believe, very aggressive marketing and not necessary. You know, if the t-shirt is better than the sandwich, for example. So that's another thing. What came to my mind, you know, all these digital labels and digitalizing and internet of clothes, and it might be actually very nicely connected with digital clothes only, who are on the rise. So this is when you said about the digital twin of us. You can have digital twin of your garments, or simply digital clothes, which you can buy with NFT now, and it's quite a big boom on this subject actually now.
Closely this shop psychology, or if it's with anything, yeah, with technology, even with food, even with and then the narrative of the brand and the narrative of the uniqueness, basically, that we are now addressing, would help to at least take us longer to shop or to enjoy this experience, because there's a whole story, if you want to find why this thing is so unique, and you just happen to see this, no? And in your story, I also get this idea, Marta, where the avatar is doing the shopping for you, and the shopping is done digitally, so you don't have the shopping bags at home also, and it's just completely outsourced, and then you don't need to be busy with that in that sense.
Yes, but there is also, you know, the other side of this, because shopping can be addicted, and then many brands now are using gamification. And I had my personal dilemma where I was, you know, designing the game, and the game should be, you know, you should play on daily basis, and it should be kind of addicted, you know. But what's better? So it's like, I think the problem is, it shopping better, because shopaholicism is quite common actually nowadays, or you know, playing this game and learning about something new. So it just, which is worse actually, because I think a lot of people have problems now with looking too much in the screens, to use too much technology, all these social media, social networks, when then people are getting quite often depressed. So that's another side as well.
Mm-hmm.
And having digital self, you know, digital twin, will it be nicer than you? Will it have nicer shape, you know, no wrinkles and stuff like this? That can also, for the psychological point of view, be not so good, I would say. So that's all the problems we're having. You know, all these filters on your face, you know, just
I think that's why it is important that there is a connection between the physical and the digital, that it is really kind of gapping this experience maybe, or the also how you perceive yourself, that you have again a realistic feeling also of the real world, right? That it's not getting like detached from the real, and I think that's something we also have to consider, how we deal with those kind of digital worlds, and the gamification aspect of that.
I just had I just finished the conversation with my co-founders, and we're just trying to figure out how we already coming into these times that nobody's going out from home, sitting in pajamas, not having the bath, you know, dirty, smelly, and mess all around, but they are living in this virtual perfect world, and you know, it's just so that's probably a little bit where we're going to.
Yes, yes.
And what I see is that right now, there's, because of the pandemic, people are sitting at home, and so they're only, so they need like a distinct, like in the digital world, and this clashes. It's just coincident. It clashes that. So now there's like one thing is solved that you can have. Before, digital world was the same. You know, if you have like a digital picture, like a JPEG, you can just reproduce it, and it's always the same. So it's like more perfect than every industrialized process. But now there's like a new technology that you can make, like every digital object can be provable, and it's really it's provable. You can't copy it. It's not. It's provable, unique, and this has a lot of new use cases, because then we can, in a way, I think right now it's possible to replicate the physical world where not also like exactly the same stuff t-shirt. They are different, of course, and you see it in a way. And but in the digital world now, this is possible too. And before this technology existed, it was not possible. Of course, it has been possible, but you always have been dependent of gatekeepers. You know, you get like, if you think about digital signatures, so you sign stuff, and then it's also like unique, but then you need like a gatekeeper who then proves it that it's real. And this on blockchain, and on then there is like, it's you don't have a gatekeeper anymore, so you can prove it's a unique thing you got at the end. But anyway, it's also about, if you look deep into this non-fungible token stuff, it's a little bit fake, because every own technology has their own like standards, and if you have a non-fungible token in one system, doesn't mean that you have that it exists on the other system. So if you make like a game, and then you try to have an item in the game, whatever it is, and then you want to use it somewhere else on another game, it's not really possible to move it outside without having a gatekeeper then like makes a conversation from one non-fungible token standard to another one, because it's the idea is there, and the idea is that I think in the end that you have like a non-fungible token on one game, and then maybe you can use it another game too, and then it's like a mishmash. But right now it's not working, but the idea is very strong.
With a token in the end, or is this how do you see that as a psychological phenomena? So maybe I say it again, the aspect of shopping, seeing and being seen, and going through a lot of attention basically of people. How do we see this online? Is this, for instance, in your game, for sure a community game where everybody is joining the platform, or is it based on the idea that everybody is a single player in a world full of avatars, or what is the future you suspect?
So I think there is, it's very hard to say because there's so many different types of consumers. It depends from age, from where we were raised, where we live. It's like we are completely different, and so I think community is very important when it comes to clothes. And even if you think you are not into fashion, people will judge you by how you look, what you wear. So, and they will put you to some kind of community picture. It's like, okay, he's a lagger when it comes to fashion. So that's a meaning. That's already say something. When it's coming to going for fashion trips, there's so many different reasons. I was surprised. Why there in front of luxury shops there were some people who completely didn't feel like a target for me, but then I realized they're buying maybe for taking picture on Instagram, and they're planning to return the garment. That's why they're queuing, because they want to be the first one. So then there are some teenage girls who are dressed exactly the same, and there's just fun for them. They love. I've got another friend who and her hobby is shopping actually, and goings and finding occasions, and so that's very interesting. And she's going with her husband on a weekly basis, to some specific shopping, and they're trying to find something even that they don't need. So, and with online it can be similar. I think it's really depends. It's like it's the technology. You can now dress yourself, maybe take a picture and show it to others. That's a new trend that we are seeing, and then your friends can or strangers as well, community people from the community, and judge what you look better in. So there's so many different motivations. If you look at the older generation, when I'm talking to my mom, it's completely different. She will not buy online at all. That she needs to go to the store. It's just very different mindset as well. And the purpose of why you're buying clothes as well. Do you need something because your jeans are completely broken and you need new one, or you just need a broken jeans because they're on fashion and on trend? So it's very difficult to say. It's like for once, I think there will still be, we're not going to be everyone exactly the same. We have different hobbies, different interests, and it really depends on this. You need to find your target if you want to do something specific. And regards my game, I will definitely try to build a community and rise this community and make it bigger. It's kind of my mission, It's just let's make fashion a little bit better and be more responsible. So I would like to grab as many people as possible, but I'm also leaving the option for a single player. If someone wants to play it and is just a gamer and don't want to go into fashion too much, then that's your choice. Maybe I'm just hoping that on the side he can get some, or she can get some more knowledge on the subject.
And Verena, you mentioned also that if I'm scanned by your app, that I will have a endless amount of garments that I can try on without even moving a limb, because I just project them. And I did this once with my glasses, and I could just see how does it look like with the red big glasses and so on. So I really wondered that would that be a satisfier already? Like, would that be already satisfying to see yourself in many different ways? And then maybe even do this Instagram moment and then move on to the next, and you don't even have to take it out of the shop or even get it into production.
Yeah, exactly. So what is Instagram already doing, or some of them influencers are doing, is that they have digital garments, and that they just get photographed digitally in them. That's a completely new trend, and I think that's also kind of extending to some extent. But I think, again, it's quite important also, just as Marta said about the community, that it is maybe also a change in how we perceive fashion. Usually we get kind of dictated what we should wear, what is trend, and what is in, and the new season and the new colors and everything. But I think if you start developing on-demand production, you can kind of bring in and digitalize the materials, and you say, okay, I have 100 meters of this textile, of this fabric, and when it's out, then there will be new in stock, and it is not having this kind of seasonal time anymore, and maybe also not the prediction from the fashion gods what I should wear, but it's more that it's a co-creation process between the buyer and the fashion label. Let's say that it's kind of encouraging the individual to also voice what they like and what they want to be, and not getting this gentrification as well, of you are a man, you go to the men's section, and you are a woman, you go to there. But what is also, I think, a big point in this new kind of digital way of shopping is maybe the possibility to also tackle groups which were kind of neglected from the industry at all. So people with disabilities, it's 20% of the population, they are completely excluded. Overweighted people are mainly excluded. Just people who are not fitting into this S to XL standards are kind of excluded in a way. And I think it's time that those individuals get more of a voice. And I think that is combined with augmented reality and wearing different things and trying different things without purchasing them all. I think that's kind of an enablement of people, to encourage them to also maybe get to know them better, what they like and what they don't like, because they first of all have the choice now. So yeah.
I was just about to ask you the choice later on, if I follow the thread of the micro production then in the city as the way you proposed it. Basically, you could go and make an experience that you say, well, I want to have a certain garment, and I tried it on digitally, and now I go and take my bike and I go to the micro production place, and I see how it's being built. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we are building up at the moment. So we are in a Zim network. I don't know if you know the concept of Knit for You. It was in 2017 from Adidas. They did a kind of a prototype of that principle, where you could go to some pop-up stores in Germany, in Berlin, and you could get yourself 3D scanned, and then you could see on screens how it looks like on you and on your avatar, and then you could also interact with the garment and could orchestrate the pattern on it, and then it would get 3D knitted for you within 3 hours, and you could take it home with you. And we have partnered up with the people who were involved in this former network from Adidas, and they are now using our technology to do the kind of same principle of building micro factories in cities, just with sewing patterns, so with fabric. And what is interesting is that now we are using 4D scanners, so that you also have movement involved, because it's also more comfortable when you go through some movements before you have the pattern get designed, not just in a standard fixed position of an avatar. And then you can basically shop online, or you can go into those stores and see the garments, scan them, see them directly on the screen on yourself, so that you kind of have a better sense and that you also perceive how then afterwards the garment is getting produced, so that it's cut it out on cutting plotters and then sewn by sewers, which is still the manual labor today. So I think it's important that we kind of have this local production ways again, and I think that will help also to better get a sense of the value of what we buy, to treasure that more, I would say.
Because the thing is, every unique garment will also need unique craftsmen to get it done. And that would then also maybe exclude for the beginning, like 3D manufacturing on a electronic or a digital level, in the sense that there will not be a sewing robot coming in this process, the way I understand you. Is that true?
I mean, it's also about this craftsmanship. I think a lot of craftsmanship techniques are dying at the moment a bit, or have died already, and it's more of kind of craftsmanship 4.0 approach, I would say, to not use the industrial kind of way of producing things, that you just have one line, you sew all the time, but you never see the finished product. So, but that you kind of also, as a sewer, get again in this craftsmanship, you master a whole piece, and then it is Emma who produced this piece for you. And I think there's a lot of value in both sides to that approach, because I think digitalization is very valuable, but I wouldn't say that I would like to see us all being unemployed and having not to work anymore. I think there's a lot of value in also doing something with your hands, and craft is, I think, something we really should value. And so I think it's more an enabling of having something to a realistic price that everyone can kind of allow or purchase again. Yeah. So it's a liberalization.
This is what your game is addressing too. Understand it right? Craftsmanship is basically part of your experience within the game, where you get information on how something is sustainable crafted or non-sustainable crafted.
Yes, and I would like to, to highlight that the quality is really important. It's just the quality. It's better to invest in quality garments, because it can live for much longer. So that's not actually excuse anymore that you have to buy fast fashion because it's cheaper. I think there are so many other options. And there's so many brands are now looking at the resale business model. However, I do have, and I'm supporting, second hands and swapping and all this kind of clothes rotation, everything that can prolong the life cycle of the garment. However, we also, it's important, because supply chain and the fashion industry is so huge. So it's important to be also empathetic to those people in working factories in Bangladesh as well. What's happening if we stop consuming because we're just gonna reuse? It should be probably, we need to start somewhere. So it's not very easy. So that's why I started. I don't have designer education, so I just started what I know about. I'm consumer, so I'm just trying to change on this side, but it's really important. And I think digital clothes, it's really important, from the sample design, how sustainable it is. But we need to think about all these people, how many people works in the fashion industry, what will happen, if we here on the better offside, I would say, just stop using the power, the work. So that's what I would like to highlight, that it's not skipping my mind, because as Verena said, it's like we don't want to lose the work, because some people are just dependent, they need to but I just need that the mother need to change somehow, because if we're going to consume as we consume now, it's just our planet won't carry this. But if we're going to just pay a little bit more for the garments, the garments can live for longer, and the garment worker can be paid better and fairer, at least. That's my change, I think.
That will be already a step. Yes.
So it's very important that we understand how much work is put into the garment. You know, it's just, if you got some nice detail, you know, there were some hands doing this, and you know how many hours. You know, it's like that's very important to know. Even if people do not want to know it, it's like just put it in the positive way. It's like, look, it's just, you know, just show it. Try to open their eyes, because the other thing what is interesting, you know, because education, just education, is not enough. Even if people are aware of the problems, they just, you know, they have their personal problems that feels more important for them, so they just don't care. They just want to boost the most, as I said before, and get this t-shirt, and they don't care. And also they think that the personal change in personal behavior won't make a big difference in a big picture, but actually if we done little steps in our own behavior, it will make a big difference on the overall picture.
And I actually want to wander around there a little bit when you said the wage and the hours that are dedicated to make something. I was wondering, basically, non-fungible tokens and the bitcoins are our new, I'm supposing in 5 to 10 years, are our new digital assets and digital money. So basically what we would then have is a global comparison, which is now very difficult to make, because I don't know how much. I know that's maybe $1 sewer in Bangladesh earns, but if everybody prices are getting somehow transparent due to a global monetization, or let's say a currency, then you have a possibility to really compare who is being paid what, and how much is stuck in which part of the distribution system. So I think we are slowly going to that awareness as well. And well, I think, Martin, what do you believe on a statement that we will have an electronic euro and we will have any fiat and digital currency?
This is too hard place to discuss this, because it's another topic, I guess. But I think it's interesting that, you know, I'm really active on Twitter, because Twitter is on the people who are into non-fungible token. This is only a sub-scene for me. I'm much more into like financial protocol right now, because financial protocol is the thing on blockchain where money is made. But if you look at Twitter, what's very interesting also, if you look at the non-fungible token and how people behave there, is that it's very fast. Like every week, every 2 weeks, there's a new hit on the road. So because there is nobody has like to produce anything except digital stuff. It's like it's shattered into sub-scenes in a way. There's the community itself make this kind of stuff in a way. It's generated by themselves at the end. You know, they generate like the new non-fungible token who is the thing you should have. And then some people, they are really into collecting this stuff. So they collect this stuff. And what I see, if you think about fashion, and I was like smiling afterwards, because I think we move in a world where you will have a lot of clothes who are just digital, and you will use them on different places, on different occasion maybe also, if you are in a digital, if you move through a digital world. Right now, if you look at Instagram, it's not a world, it's flat right now. You don't move, you won't interact right now. You show off and then you post and then you're off again. But I think we will move into a world where people will live much more in a digital communities, and also meet there and have interaction there. And so I think maybe fashion in 20 or 50 years, people have like a lot of clothes which are digital, and then sometimes if something is really not sustainable, but if it has like a high value or is an important piece, they will maybe produce it and naturalize it. But yeah, this is, I think that the pandemic is a very big accelerator in this, because it's like it's the first time that people like are stuck at home and they want to communicate, and they go to these places where you can communicate, and these are digital places. You know, the simplest one is like a Zoom, a talk like we have, but they are much more complex places. Or is it a game where people meet? And I think there will be a huge shift also, because if I look at Twitter, and this, it's called crypto Twitter because this is the name, this community is named by this. But and if what you see there, it's very fast, and it's also very, if you're not looking for 1 month, you're out. You don't know what's the newest trend. You have to go and research it. It's a full-time job in it. That's very strange. So people also, a lot of people, because the pandemic, they have a lot of time, move into these places, and they have like, it's a full-time job. They are there full-time, you know, just communicating, and then also buying digital goods and show them and own them and put them. And somehow,
I have a question. I mean, if you say that Instagram, I'm with you, but if you say Instagram is just flat, and you would like to see a community which is exchanging, and how would you see then fashion could contribute to that? I mean,
huge upcoming space in this area. You know, that a lot of projects we just, the concentration is just on metaverse, they call it. I'm not very deep into this, but it's called metaverse. So people make like clothes only for the metaverse. It's never intended to produce them. It's just to use them in these spaces. And of course, you know, like Instagram and these kind of platforms, they are quite old-fashioned in a way. You know, they're not like at the forefront of what's going on. They're conservative, mainstream. Yeah, mainstream. Yes. Because also they want. I think that the big clash in the future is that these are these big gatekeepers, and Instagram is a gatekeeper. So they say what's allowed on the platform, what you can do, and then hopefully we will move to a world where there's much more open. So there's nobody telling you what's like, controlling you, what's allowed and what's not, in a way. So that they can in their own space and in their own like metaverse, it's welcome or even okay if you show things which is in a normal world on Instagram not possible because of different reasons.
But then I want to ask you something in that direction of all of you, because if I make an image of a metaverse, I come back to Second Life. Somehow this was my first imagination. How can people do this, that they can buy something in Second Life for only using it in Second Life, and you are trapped with that thing there. Yeah, and of course, if you are all there, you will want to be there. Yeah. It's 2012. I saw that it started then. It's kind of a revival of Second Life, but then for everything and everybody, or what do you see as this as an upfront technology you're talking about?
I think it's much more. What I see is they're very different. It's not one space. At the end, maybe it will converge to like a standard. But this is really future stuff. You know, that do you think we all live like like now? You know, everyone is sitting at home, but living is happening outside, and outside means in a digital world. You know, it's strange now. The pandemic make like a time shift. It pushed us in a direction we will maybe live in 100 years. I don't know. Maybe not, but it's just that I see some shift in this direction, and it's no standard, and it's very, there are many different platforms experimenting with these games. You know, there are many games also, and
in the metaverse.
Yeah, of course, it's a game. It's a game. Okay. It's also a game. It's not that defined, but could be a game. The idea is, I think, the idea is the access to this kind of stuff be much lower. So it should be like permissionless. You don't need like just
Like going outside.
yes,
Basically,
yeah. This it should be replicated, not this. Talk about Instagram. Then you need like an account. You need to
A clubhouse, you need an invitation.
yeah, you need
I'm not
invitation.
invited.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need the right design, the right device. You need
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you say that metaverse is a game, or this is our second life, which is gamified? Maybe. Or maybe we can even argue that our life is a game.
I did some very recent in my community, very deep into would be much better.
You know, I wanted to ask a question if I have, because I haven't been following so closely NFT. Of course, yes, a little bit, but as you said, it's a full-time job. So my knowledge on this it's not so deep that I would like, because I had to concentrate on other stuff.
The idea is
yes, but no, but what I wanted to ask is that there is a big controversy about the climate and NFTs, and so I was wondering if you can tell me about this. Or this is another subject.
This is the job.
Connection is super bad now.
It's just that blockchain itself right now is like in early stage and a lot of energy because it's well done right now, but it will change. You know, if you post a picture on Instagram, it also needs energy. It's not that. Yeah, this is also a side thing. But if you think in your game, you know, in your game you're making, the idea is just that you have like an item in the game, whatever it is. This item can be seen that people who are part of the game can trade it to other one without your help. This is basically a non-fungible token.
Yeah, this I understand. I was just wondering about what you think about all this climate and energy.
The energy stuff is that Bitcoin is really bad, and I also think, you know, I'm not a big Bitcoin fan because Bitcoin is good stuff. It's more than 10 years old, and it uses too much energy, a stupid amount of energy. You know, it's really, really crazy. But they're new system, and Ethereum, who is the most used platform out when Bitcoin is going in direction without the need of this much energy, and there are many other platforms coming up which have a different design, who is like it's not comparable. You don't need the energy to make it safe. Energy, you use the energy to make the network safe, but there are solutions without this kind of energy. And there exists right now, so it's going to change.
And on this, I can recommend somebody who is deep diving into not necessarily non-fungible tokens that are sustainable, but web usage, especially websites and so on. If you go to Chris Decker's Low Tech magazine, you will find a beautiful website that is the lightest since the beginning of internet, since the first page was produced. And he copied kind of the idea behind it, and he has a solar panel and a battery on the balcony, and uses a similar type of Raspberry Pi to make that website go online. But it's not.
Could you maybe write the address in the chat?
Sure, with pleasure. I will do this afterwards, after the talk, because I don't see. Can I chat it right now? Maybe I can.
No worries.
Yeah.
Well, definitely interesting too.
Yeah. So I think I would also definitely want to open the discussion to all our participants. Maybe there's a participant that would love to question something on the on the chat. Then meanwhile, I will try and put in the name of Chris Decker with the low.
But I have a question, Verena. I'm not on. What you're doing is so you can buy this in the physical world.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So we still need clothes, right? We can't just go naked and go all augmented all the time.
But maybe you buy, you wear every time the same stuff and only have your. But then people use it and then they order it. They can like generate a lot of different views for themselves, and then they can order.
Yeah, so they virtually try on the things. They can also co-create. That means that they change things on the outfit, what they like better, like a modular system, and then they can go for the one they like most and get it specially done for them. So I mean, what we're facing currently is that, for example, Adidas is wasting 45% of what they are producing. They are just letting go to waste. They shred it and they burn it. So it's nearly half of what they produce. And if you just produce the stuff you really like and you really want to wear, I think that's already a big help and a big step. And then we also have a second life cycle, so that when you have your avatar, you can also get matched with other avatars who have the same figure as you, and then you can buy, because you don't have any right of return in second hand usually, and you don't know if the stuff fits you or not. And there you can be sure that it is fitting you before you purchase it.
But can I ask you about the second life? I got the email from one company, fast fashion company, who is doing resale, and I looked at the website, and then I was thinking, of course, you do have a size. So if you have the same avatar, but then someone wash it, for example, and it's shrink, what happens quite often to me, unfortunately. So what happens then? Do you have some kind of, or do you measure this second hand garment somehow to be sure that it will fit? No.
No, I mean, the idea is that you have something like Instagram, but more in a way that you become a shop window, I would say, so that you present your stuff you have on yourself, and then you also on top of it have your digital twin, which can get matched. So you have kind of the proof that it is fitting your body, and you then have the digital match as well.
Makes sense.
Which can be tokenified, and again, that's you can then definitely see it everywhere, all over the world, and go and search for your body type and your body garments. That's really nice. I think it's a beautiful thought. So I would love to also test this if I can.
Yeah, hopefully soon.
Yeah. Do you want to say something on that? When you would expect your first?
Yeah, so we hope for June this year, but you know how it is. Yeah. So many things are dependent on that. So yeah, first we thought we go to in April to the market. So we are in June already. Yeah, but I mean someday this year.
So I think. Oh, sorry, Marta.
I just said fingers crossed because it sounds super exciting, and I can't wait to try.
Yeah, thank you.
And do you like to say something on the release of the game, or is that so difficult to say? It's
No, well, I will definitely let you know, and I will promote it once it's going to be ready. But it's not going to be even in one turn. I think there will be a soft launch first, and then testing phase, and then hard launch. It also depends if we're going to collaborate with publisher or we decide not to, because we might lose a little bit of our vision on it. It depends who we're going to collaborate with as well. Yeah, we've got small initial investment for a moment, so we're looking for more, which is also quite important, and it will be depends, how quick it will go, and so there is a lot of factors still to go. And then it's always, you know, I have such a big vision, but to narrow down and make it very simple and for everyone, it's the most difficult thing probably. So let's see, and let's hope quite soon. We had also quite a big delay over the Christmas because of Corona and all the restriction and some illness in the team. So, but we are still positive and super excited about the project.
Super. Martin, do you also have a release date of something you want
I
to?
think that I should be finished last month.
Okay.
You're talking.
But
No,
that sounds pretty soon. So that's good.
Yeah, it's just
1 month
the same
ago.
software. I told I'm working in a digital collective, and I'm one of the product owners there. But we do still boring fintech, blockchain stuff. It's not no connection to fungible tokens. In a way, there's also fungible tokens. It's now we talked about having items, but the interesting thing is much more fungible tokens. You can also have like the idea is that you have like an insurance contract. You personally have an insurance contract on certain thing, and then you can just sell it to another person. Right now, it's not possible, and a non-fungible token can make such business cases possible, which are now really not possible to solve it. But I'm not working this. But the final word is regarding non-fungible token and art. It's absolutely, it's a bubble right now, and don't invest anything because the bubble will pop now. You know, if you look at Twitter in the US, it's like every sports star, every musician makes now a non-fungible token, and they sell them off for a ridiculously high amount of money, and it's not going to be that valuable at the end. This is just it's a bubble, and what's nice about bubbles, I think it's a huge push into there's a lot of money flow. A lot of artists who are not that well known make a lot of money by selling non-fungible token as an art, and this flows back to artists, and they make a living out of it. And the negative part about this is that some people think, yeah, now it has been solved. Now artists can be rich because they make non-fungible token and people buy it, and they get their creativity gets their fair share. This is like the main naive thinking about non-fungible token right now, anyway. But it's not going to end like this. Mostly, if there's a lot of money in it, somebody else will try to get the cut. And one of them.
You think it's a little bit like gambling now? It's stock exchange and gambling.
Yes, you know but you know, there's the most famous non-fungible token art are these CryptoPunks, because they are quite old, and the 10,000s of CryptoPunks, they're limited 10,000. I think the cheapest one now is around 20,000 or so, or even more. And in end of May, they will sell some of them on Sotheby's, I guess. Yes, they will auction off very rare ones, because like different properties, they are different. They look different. Some are more seldom than. And I think maybe this will be the top. And
have you bought yourself some digital art or digital fashion yet?
I had a sock, but I sold it.
A sock?
I had two socks.
Two socks. I thought maybe sock, it doesn't matter. One sock is.
I sold it like 2 weeks ago because
it was so valuable.
And then I bought another digital sock, and I just did see a cheap one. I just did see they closed down the shop.
Oh, really?
Now you only can redeem until the end of the year, so I have to redeem them.
And have you been wearing those socks or not? They were just lying in your computer.
I didn't redeem because this is the huge. You know, some people bought the uni socks for $1 or $2, and then they redeemed. But if the stranger the thing redeemed, the sock redeemed, has not the same value as the digital one. The digital version is much more expensive. There's no market for the physical sock, but there's a huge market for the digital one, and this is it's odd in a way. So
I would love to jump in here because 2 weeks ago, no, a week ago, actually the ecosystems got non-fungible tokens due to the region network. It's another way of thinking of what of the token would stay alive over time and gets more valuable. So what they do is basically they tokenize the trees they plant, and they make farmers and communities pair up with people like investors who want to compensate, who want to offset. So this is maybe another of really creating value for future in a tokenized way. But that would be definitely a talk for another time, for a next online festival of Fashion Revolution, I think. So I will slowly close it because there is a question. Ah, wait. Or a topic, actually. It's a remark. A very interesting topic on NFTs. Most of the fashionistas don't have a clue on this topic, which is going to attract more attention in future. Yeah, okay. It's not a question, but a remark of every one of our visitors. So I was about to close down. Maybe Verena wants to say something, or anybody wants to say any closing words. Otherwise, I thank you all.
This is actually what I wanted to say. Thank you very much. These precious guests, Martin, Martha Weidel, and Verena Ziegler. Thank you very much for coming, for taking your time and being here with us and sharing your interesting projects. And we wish you lots of luck with launching your projects and getting them underway. And yes, thank you very much for sharing this with us.
Thank you. And you should also say what you're doing tonight.
Yes.
Sure. Should I? Maybe I'm a sound artist, and tonight Corinna and me, we are going to do a beautiful sound performance with sewing machines. And basically, we are trying to initiate the revolution by sound. Sound is a very important thing it's the start of revolutions. But I think Fashion Revolution already started. So we are not the starting point, but we are going to use sewing machines to trigger this and make some statements to Bangladesh poor peoples and this fast fashion industry that we're rid of. So this is where this sound clash is going to be at 8 o'clock at the same concert. If you like, you can even visit us in Switzerland right now. It's open for a couple of visitors. And, we have a big space, so if you need to come, anybody, or anybody, not everybody. No, we cannot. Stop people. And we are 5, yeah? So exactly, that's why we stream it, and maybe we will be streaming it many more years. Who knows how long will this take? But I hope I will get the chance to see you in real and talk on, because it was really triggering me outside. Beautiful. Perfect timing, Switzerland, 4 o'clock, yes. No worries. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Bye.
Bye.